we're going for the halftime-ish. We're just gonna go ahead and skip Reno to the next map, which is Midtown. Okay. One of the new maps for Overwatch 2. Kinda like it. Kinda like this map. First point is somewhat reminiscent of Anamura, so it might be a noob stomper because everyone tunnel visions into the train. I don't know why. Like, guys, train is bad. Train is hella bad unless you have a Junkrat to push with you. The best way to go to the point is either through here or through alley. You need to rotate as a team. So yeah, this train right here, death trap. You typically don't want to go in there. You most especially don't want to go in there if the enemy team, the defending team, who the Houston Outlaws have an Echo, a Doomfist, and an Ana who just hits their nades all the time. So this is interesting from Dallas Fuel, right? So they switch in Hanbin, who probably has more off-tank experience, and that's why she's on Zarya. He's on Zarya, rather. Excuse me. Hanbin is on Zarya, and I believe they think that this is a counter to Doom, which I kind of agree with, because it's a lot more awkward for Doomfist to go in for a punch and get a kill, especially if your bubble timings are on point. And also, it's a lot harder to kill, right? Zarya is incredibly hard to kill. It's a hard target because of the bubbles, because of the backline healing, and all that. So Houston Outlaws, they kind of need to either explode the Zarya, kill Zarya immediately, or outright kill team, kill kill the backline, kill the backline of the Dallas Fuel much faster and a lot sooner before the Zarya is able to gain charge, right? Gain charge, survive the dive. I guess that's part of the deal, right? Survive the dive and then counter dive. So again, Dallas Fuel is on the slower composition, but in this case, you have a little bit more survivability. Hi, what is your rank? I haven't played comp since season 32, I think. But I am diamond and DPS. I am flat, I think, on tank. But that's mostly because I don't really play ranked anymore, and I do mostly coaching. So, you know, yeah, you're not really gonna gain rank if you're not playing rank. If you're playing mostly, what do you call this? If you're playing mostly scrims, you're not gonna gain rank that much at all, if at all. So here's the weird bit. Why are they going into the tunnel? They know that there's going to be plenty of spam. This is just if Dante just chooses to slam like this into this carriage and train, all of them are gonna take that damage. And then there's going to be a nade from Iris, right? From, I don't know, from way over here. And that's going to explode on all of them. So it's kind of weird that the Dallas Fuel decided to push through this train. You could also argue that maybe they're incredibly confident in Hanbin's ability to gain charge and to just pressure this Doom to get out of the way, right? Because that's another option. If you can force out the Doomfist, because to my knowledge, this ability right here from Doomfist doesn't really block damage from Zarya beams that well, especially if she's high charge. So in theory, you could just focus down a Doomfist whether or not he has that ability, and force him out, gain the space, and then push Fawn forward to the point. At that point, Houston Outlaws have lost their advantage of being the ones to initiate the dive because, again, their Doomfist is probably dead or, what do you call this? Had to punch out. So they no longer have a dive. So they're at this point they're just wishing, praying, hoping that their DPS, their Pelican Merit will get a kill as the rotation happens from the Dallas Fuel towards the point. So maybe that's the idea. That's why they went for this. But right now they're kind of pussying out. uh, yeah, they're just gonna take so much spam. And Dallas Fuel don't. I mean, the Houston Outlaws don't really need to commit anything to this. Now, on a typical day, they might have actually dove that Zarya, but it's a little bit risky. It's far. I think it's out of LOS from your Ana, right? I think there's a bus over here that's covering Iris's LOS, so they choose not to dive him. Instead, they dive the backline, who is now completely vulnerable. They have no shield, they have no bubble. Unfortunately, they didn't get a kill, but that's okay. They still stalled the push. And again, look at this commitment and trust from Pelican. At any point, Edison again could just turn around and just focus down this Echo, and that would be it. I think that would be it for the Houston Outlaws defense, and they just get the point for free. But Pelican trusts. He trusts his team to engage when he engages, and vice versa. Gets the spam. This is probably some miscommunication from the team because Sparkle just dashed it, and now he's kind of trapped and being pressured hard by everyone on the Houston Outlaws, and he just feeds. Yeah, I think Sparkle's mode is typically just go, and unfortunately, his team is a little bit more methodical in that, and thus he tends to overextend quite a bit. He's still a good player though. It's just that he's kind of out of sync from time to time with his team. Okay, so Houston Outlaws initially were going for the trade, I think, or for the peel rather, because as you can see, Sparkle once again goes in. Wait, yeah, blue. We're on blue. Sparkle goes in, sees that, says the Outlaws see this and say, well, Mary's probably gonna die, or maybe he can take care of himself. It's probably gonna take a while for this Sparkle Genji to kill him. So while they're doing that, let's kill the main team who's now in main. Wow, that's definitely not redundant statements right there, but there you go. So they hard pressure Hunbin. They had to use the nano boost. It's unfortunate that they still had bubble. I think that would have been much better if they could have baited both of the bubbles. But yeah, the save from fielder was just key to this. It's very key to just getting this point. But again, it's like the game plan, right? The game plan from Dallas Fuel, as I said earlier, was just to survive the initial dive. And then get high energy on the Zarya and then just pocket the hell out of the Zarya. Make sure she doesn't die. And there you go. The reward is the point. Or at least they get out of that choke. So coming up, Houston Outlaws are close to ults. Dallas Fuel will have theirs by the time that they do get to the point. Is it me or is it just much slower now for Echo to build ult? Maybe it is. So again, dive comes in. They kind of survive the first one. Hanbin kind of overstays his welcome, gets separated from the rest of his team. Gets killed first. Fielder just didn't have the burst healing left to save him. And then Sparkle... Wait, what happened to the DPS? That's something that I didn't notice here. Oh, they just died for straight up. The first engage. But how? Iris just snipes him. Okay. So Iris snipes Edison, and then Sparkle does what? I don't know where Sparkle is. Yeah, Sparkle just gets killed by a flanking Soldier 76. I guess they were just hard focusing this Echo, but unfortunately, Echo again being Echo. And I guess the Echo target is a lot more important here. Pelican copied the Zarya, so a lot harder to kill. Despite the nerf of just 300 tops HP for a copied target. Okay, so the Dallas Fuel lost that because they didn't really have the damage and they couldn't pocket Hanbin for that much longer. They couldn't survive the dive. Actually, their backline couldn't survive the dive. They had high energy, but there's just too much damage left in the tank of the Houston Outlaws. Now, this is an interesting play, right? So, the Houston Outlaws know that Sparkle has Blade, right? A Blade. So, to counter that Blade, what Merit does is he hides up on top at the flank with attack visor ready with Sparkle's name on it. And that is the plan, right? Sparkle goes for a Blade, attack visor from an unknown place, and then you make Sparkle's Blade a lot more awkward. Like a hell of a lot more awkward. But Dallas Fuel will have a very simple counterplay, just bubble him. You just bubble him and then yeah, Sparkle just goes to town. And now what do you do? So I think the better play there, even though it might have definitely made him a target for Sparkle, is to just peek early. They needed, I think Houston Outlaws needed to engage a lot earlier, stick with their game plan, and then pop the attack visor the moment that the engage happens. Yeah, he has that blade. He's probably going to go for merit. That is very true. However, he might be able to trade the rest of the team for it. Who knows? I think it's worth the risk. So the Outlaws still managed to trade some players, but I think they capped this one. Yeah, yeah. There's no way that they don't cap this. So going for the replay, blah blah blah. Okay. So Houston Outlaws decide to hold close, mostly because they have several angles, right? And this is also a very good space for Doomfist. Lots of walls, enclosed space. Your DPS slash supports are kind of are in a safe-ish spot by holding up here, here, and perhaps even on the bridge for as long as they can see the Doomfist. You could have maybe also held over here as a soldier, but a little bit dangerous. You gotta respect. You gotta respect Pelican's dedication to Dante's engages, though. It's just, I don't fucking care. Yeah, I probably will feed here on a normal day, but this is not a normal day. I have my teammates, and I trust them. Fortunately, Dante couldn't come up with the goods, and now they're forced to back off onto the bridge. And the Dallas Fuel respond in kind by attack visoring with a nano boost to get him off the bridge, because the bridge is an incredibly powerful place to hold, especially on the second point, because you have high ground and then you could just drop whenever you feel like it. If they go on and cross this bridge, they haven't capped the point yet, can just drop down. Easy peasy. Still have high ground, your supports are relatively safe. They don't have a very good sightline of said supports. Yeah, you're keeping that. You're defending that at all costs. So they did Dallasfield drive them away. Now here's the weird part, in my opinion. Okay, so they kind of have cart, right? Edison is currently just chilling on the bridge. Sparkle had to dash out because he's low. He got focused down, I think, by Iris. Now, my question is, why back off there instead of backing off like this, right? So they have this position right here. Dallas Fuel have to retake this area. My question for the Dallas Fuel is, why not just back off like this? Right? There's so many obstacles over here. It's actually deceptively difficult to shoot anything beyond this bus or behind or beyond this crosswalk because you can just dance around here as Genji. Uh, Hanbin can maybe just go over here and hide from time to time, and then the rest of your backline can just hide behind this blue bus thingy or even this police car. And it's very difficult for the Outlaws to do anything unless they go full on rotate to the high ground. But even then, if they rotate like that, all you have to do is group up on the cart and push it all the way to the end. And maybe even maintain positions now over here. Behind the taxi, behind this waiting shed. What is your rank in main? I no longer play rank. And my main, I don't really have a main. I just play whatever. I used to main tank, but since then I've played every single class. Not every single hero, but every single class. So, anyway, they were able to drive them off mostly because Edison got picked off, right? And the rest of them said like, okay, we need to save Edison right now. Because if you're looking at it, the Dallas Fuel, the Houston Outlaws didn't even need to commit any ults to this. In fact, they didn't have any ults, and yet the Dallas Fuel just chose to back off, which is kind of weird. I think you try to maintain your position and keep up the pressure against the Houston Outlaws. But again, 50 I like 50-50. I was about to say eyesight 50-50. I don't know what the hell that means. My brain is not working properly right now, but hindsight 2020 is the correct term. So, anyway, as I said before, this high ground pretty good. You need to keep it. Oh my god, that bubble was clutch. If he didn't get that bubble, Sparkle would have just died the moment that he after that dash. But still died in the end. Both bubbles have been used. They need to kill this Zarya immediately. Dante dies, but that's part of the course. They grab the Echo, but Merit responds with Attack Visor. Since both bubbles have been expended, and I believe they also used the nade, there's not really a lot of burst healing. There's not really anything to prevent the damage from this Attack Visor. So it becomes a very clutch tool. And it helps that Lastro is just disrupting this this Zarya. Now she has no bubbles again, even gets nano boosted, hunts down Fielder, doesn't get the kill unfortunately. That would have been so big if he got that kill. Because the rest of his team was already advancing, right? They were already reinforcing down to that tunnel. But Fielder is staying alive. Yeah, I don't think they can defend this now. If you're the Houston Outlaws, I think I think the Dallas Fuel just get a successful push, especially with that. Yeah, they do touch the point, but not in time. The beat didn't come out in time for Lastro. They couldn't touch the cart to contest the second point. They did burn a lot of time still though. And they're still owning. What the fuck? They're still killing people. I think not for long. The bloodlust should run out by now because this is a very hard choke to hold. Doomfist or otherwise. This is very strange. Dante goes for a backline, but then again, Dante has ult. That's why he's going for this. Okay. So he's trying to go for an assassination on Fielder. Maybe dissuade the rest of the Dallas Fuel from advancing, which is something that they do. They try to peel for their support. Unfortunately, they got jebaited by Dante, who just has ult, gets away. and maybe even gets a kill on the back line. The one thing that I do want to see though from the Outlaws is they need to be a lot more aggressive than this. Like I was expecting them to advance past this choke because again the Dallas Fuel have given them space because they're trying to peel for their main support or flex support fielder, right? So that means that it's kind of safe-ish for the Outlaws to advance and support this attack by Dante. And I think they could have gotten some kills if they did so. Yeah, I think that was a missed opportunity. They played that a little bit too safe, which is uncharacteristic considering what was in the first two maps that they played. Well, I say two maps. They just played Oasis, but you get my point, right? They won Oasis. They played two maps there, and they did it flawlessly, going all in whenever they dove. So somewhat uncharacteristic, but anyway, Dallas Fuel get a little bit more payload distance merit-ish spawns with attack visor plus nano boost, which is almost a death sentence unless Chio just has uh, beat, which unfortunately he didn't. I think that was a bit of a gamble from the Houston Outlaws because if Chio had the beat, then that attack visor would have been a little bit more awkward, right? They would have survived. Fielder would have nano boosted either their soldier or um, their Doomfist and turn that fight around. Maybe capture the third point, but they gambled. The Houston Outlaws said they don't have beat. They probably don't have beat yet. For very close to it. And this is the last point. They have a few seconds left. They can't really recontest. So the gamble paid off, and now they just have to push just a little bit after the second point. Blah blah replay. Still the exact same composition for defense on the Dallas Fuel. It's well, I guess that makes sense, right? Because you want your Zarya to get as much charge as possible. So that's why they were holding outside that train. But okay, so the idea here for the Houston Outlaws was correct, right? You rotate all the way to the flank, force the Dallas Fuel to rotate like that, or go even further into uh, what will be the first point area. And then since the Dallas or the Houston Outlaws kind of respect the dive from the Dallas Fuel, they opt to not rotate Iris. Instead, Iris is staying in main right now. But the problem with that is that Iris doesn't really have a good LOS of anything that's happening. And thus, all the Dallas Fuel has to do is push forward before Iris is able to connect with this team and then get the kills, and while the Houston Outlaws are in the alley. And that's precisely what they did. I'm not sure if they recognized that Field or Iris was not yet with the team, but they did recognize that Pelican was low and that yeah, they can just finish him off. I guess that implied the mere fact that Pelican took that much damage and didn't get healed implied that the enemy Ana was not in position, so they can take advantage of it. Okay. Oh, this is a very interesting flank, right? But it actually has some sense to it. So the idea behind this is Dante is trying to bait the whole team, the whole Dallas Fuel team, or at least one of them, to chase him. In in the latter, or if one chases, then the plan is to just assassinate, right? Assassinate, get the charge, assassinate him, then the rest of your team rolls in as per usual, diving in, balls to the wall. If all chase or more than one chase, so greater than one chase, You basically distract their team. You lure them into this small room, which again you have a fully charged punch, so you can CC them to the wall. Uh, Pelican gets a really good sticky. Iris gets a really good nade. Blah blah blah. They get wiped, right? So you go for the typical hard dive. So no one chases. Unfortunately, Edison makes the mistake of going inside or trying to go inside, which is precisely where Dante wants him, because number one, he's out of LOS of the rest of his team. Number two, lots of walls to punch him into. Yeah, he's completely isolated now. And it's to salt the wound, the rest of the Outlaws just show up out of nowhere. That is it. I think that's it for the defense. Doomfist, despite what Tier 3 says constantly, is actually a fairly good tank. They just don't know how to use them. So Hanbin try actually they're defending this. Wow. Hanbin goes for the backline, doesn't catch anybody. Pelican gets nano boosted just to shoo away and survive. This is probably the worst place to push because again you're facing against a Pelican that has all the spam like that. It's very fortunate that they still had that bubble. Otherwise, just it's game over. They take advantage of the fact that the bubble was used to use the attack visor to wipe the enemy team. That is actually genius. That is actually very smart from the Houston Outlaws. Wow. To just have that level of communication and coordination. And I guess also trust. It's okay. So they used one bubble. Takes note of that. Get antied. Half health. Gets nano boosted. There's also a lot of trust happening on the Dallas field, to be fair. It's like he went half health there, Hanbin. Okay, that's one bubble again. Two bubbles. They're kind of confident now that they don't have anything. They need to. They can chill a little bit. And alright, that's the next bubble used. Merit is now going to pop the attack visor because they're confident they'd have nothing to protect them. Second bubble just regenerates too late. Then yeah, it's like Merit's just Merit already killed three. Now four. And then about to be five. Damn. God damn. This is such a sick play. It's a sick play just live, casually observing it. It's even more sick when you just break it down and analyze everything that had to go right. Everything that the Houston Outlaws had to do and communicate to each other to get that thing right. It's just wow. So as per usual, the high ground, the bridge, very useful. Dallas Fuel right now are just satisfied with repeatedly pelting them to bait out the to bait out some bubbles. Dante goes for a flank. Oh wait, Dante goes for a flank and then Pelican goes for a flank because he has the ult. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So tries to go for the counter engage. Sparkle does with a blade. Immediate response from Lastro by using beat. Then grabs probably one of the worst possible targets to grab. Winston that has ult. Doomfist that has ult. And oh my god, the Salt the Wound they just got grabbed themselves. And oh my god, Feeler's already low. Can't quite get in there because Dante got slept. Thank your lucky stars. Okay. So there's also a slight difference in how the Dallas Fuel and the Houston Outlaws attempt their attack, right? So back on attack, Dallas Fuel grouped up most of everybody, including their Ana on the payload, right? The Houston Outlaws say no. Our soldier's gonna be here, our Ana's gonna be here, and the rest of our team is gonna be on payload. And I think that's a lot better. Because now you have this option. If ever your soldier gets dove, you got the nade, you got a save, and then the rest of your team can just turn around. And if they choose to go, if what do you call this? If they choose to go to the right for the Dallas Fuel and try to contest them from the flank, then the soldier and the Ana just have free reign. And it hurts even more if if they catch the back line just catches the back line of the Houston Outlaws just catches the Dallas Fuel mid rotation. That's got to be an even bigger salt to the wound. So they tried to get a quick kill again. The all important reason of having both of your Ana and your Soldier 76 group up with each other because they just have a lot higher survivability. They can heal each other. Didn't work. The engage didn't work from Sparkle. Eventually, Merit zoned him out with attack visor. And yeah, he has no contribution in this because he's not gonna be healed. The Outlaws are just effectively zoning out the rest of the Dallas Fuel. Sparkle just eventually dies to a Lucio. And the Outlaws smell blood in the water. Keeps on diving, which is the correct play. They're hella staggered right now. I would like them to... Okay, there we go. They're holding a lot more aggressively. Pelican just waiting in the corner for the engage to happen. So wait, where does he go? Wait. What? He doesn't show up yet. Interesting. I was expecting him to show up by now. Because Sparkle is already engaging into their soldier. I guess they're not really afraid because soldier's within line of sight of Iris, and Sparkle no longer has dash. So everyone is relatively safe for now. Oh, that was okay, so that was the plan. They bait out Sparkle. They baited out Sparkle, and then they finish him off. Because they know that Sparkle just hard engages almost every time. And that was such a clutch sleep. Saving Lasher right there. Preventing more damage from the attack visor. Holy moly. The Outlaws were actually playing out of their minds in this one. But damn, that was just smart play. To expect Sparkle to just go for that aggressive contest in the soldier, and then for it to be just bait. Bait for Pelican to go for a kill on a Genji. Damn. Just goddamn.